Dick Cheney's getting a political makeover for his former critics, all because they don't like Donald Trump. This story, okay, let me put it into perspective. This is a man who was he was actually regarded by all the media as Darth Vader because he was responsible for the big lie that killed 1 million people in Iraq. He drove that train. He created all the subterfuge that allowed us to go into Iraq. And, you know, he controlled the media even. You think back on Iraq, think about CNN and Fox, and they've got these big maps on the floor, and Dick Cheney says this, and Dick Cheney was the guy most responsible for the Iraq disaster. Now, he is the hero. He is absolutely the hero of the Democrats. These people who've said, my God, he's awful. Well, apparently not.
Yeah, you know, he came out recently, obviously, did this ad for his daughter, Liz Cheney, trashing Donald Trump and saying, you know, oh, we're going to keep him from ever getting in office again. Please go vote for my daughter, who also, please forget the fact that she sold out her own gay sister
Yes.
to advance in the Republican Party.
Well, that's an important story because that tells you who this woman is. Talk about that a little bit. I want to spend a little time on this story.
Yeah, they basically, you know, Dick Cheney has one daughter that is a lesbian, and the rest of the family has kind of just pushed her aside, pretending you don't exist. Yeah. And consistently voting to take away the rights of their own sister for political gain. Yeah. And even Dick Cheney's horribleness goes, you know, way further back than Iraq with Iran-Contra. He was in the Nixon administration. And all the while, from Nixon until he left office, his whole idea was, let's expand the power that the president has.
If you expand the power of the president, we can pick a war wherever we want. We're not going to have Congress getting in our way. And you know, a Halliburton connection, how many billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars did did Halliburton make in Iraq? Well, who was in charge of that? Yeah. The Dick. You know,
exactly.
the Dick was in charge of that. But now the Dick is the hero. He's the absolute hero of not only just middle-of-the-road Democrats, but progressives. All because he hates Trump. And his crazy daughter hates Trump. And his crazy daughter, if you look at her history, will scare the bejesus out of you.
Right. She still voted with the entire Republican Party over 93% of the time. Yeah. So there really is no daylight between any of these people. But the funny thing is, you know, talking about the rehabilitation of this guy, back in January, when he shows up at Congress for the one-year anniversary of January 6th, he gets a standing ovation. Like the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, everybody stand up. Oh my God, we love you.
It's insane. It's insane. Look, here's what really set me off. You know, he goes from being Darth Vader. Do you realize the Washington Post said that between him and his daughter, they are the new Obi-Wan Kenobi? They are, I'm not making up. The Washington Post says, yes, these folks are like the Obi-Wan Kenobi come to save this republic. Now, how do you get there?
Well, you get there because all you have to do is come out and say, hey, I hate Donald Trump too. He's a really bad guy, so I am your best friend. Forget about all those pictures from Abu Ghraib. Forget about Gitmo.
By the way, he invented Abu Ghraib. I mean, he's the guy who made Abu Ghraib happen because of what you said. He said the president has the ability to do that. We don't need Congress. This guy is a war pig. And, you know, the other part of the story people don't know, the Dick here, well, the Dick in 2000 election, he was the guy who was tapped to go find a vice president. Well, it just so happens he appointed himself as that person, the vice president, because his relationship with Halliburton, he knew he was going to make a ton of money if he could just start another war that cost us 1 million lives, and God knows how much money.
But you know, what's really disturbing about this is that he's not the only one who's had this image makeover. Yeah. All of these other individuals, I mean, George W. Bush, oh, well, he was so cute handing Michelle Obama a piece of candy at Trump's inauguration. We love him now. He couldn't figure out how to put on his raincoat, so he's a hilarious. He's just painting his beautiful pictures. His approval rating is back up into the 70s.
Yeah. Was it 40 when we were talking about how disgusting the guy was? Yeah. The same thing had happened with Avenatti. Oh, you've done story after story on Avenatti. Dems, I love this guy. Well, okay, you know, he was caught stealing money from clients to the tens of thousands, actually millions of dollars stealing from clients, but he was the Democratic guy. Then you had Scaramucci, right?
Yeah.
Tell me that story.
Anthony Scaramucci, who lasted, the famous 10 days as Donald Trump's press secretary, was so excited to be there. We're making America great again. Then he gets fired and says, well, I hate Trump now. And so all of the liberal podcasters say, well, come on to my show and let's talk about how bad Trump is.
How about Michael Cohen?
Oh, my God.
Okay, tell them. This is another love story that develops with the Democrats because he's willing to say, I hate Trump.
Right.
So,
Michael Cohen spends 20 years of his life fixing all of Donald Trump's legal problems. Wanting to live the high life like he sees Trump doing, taking money here and there, absolute just scumbag. But then he gets busted and now he says, well, I hate Trump too now. So the liberals once again say, well, come on over to our side, buddy. You're our best friend.
Well, the Dick, he is now the new face of the Democratic Party, if you believe what you're seeing. I can't even believe what I'm seeing. Farron, thanks for joining me, okay?
Thank you.
That's all for this week, but all of these segments are going to be available the coming week right here on this channel, and you can follow us on Twitter at America's Lawyer. I'm Mike Papantonio, and this has been America's Lawyer, where every week we tell you the stories that corporate media won't tell you because their advertisers won't let them or their political connections don't allow for you. So we're going to see you next week, I hope.